Welcome to episode 19 of Win the Day. Today's episode is titled 6 Steps for Success in 2020. The quote for today's episode comes from Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling and says, "It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well have not lived at all, in which case you have failed by default." Welcome to the first episode of 2020. I hope you all had an amazing finish to 2019 and that 2020 is off to a great start for you. My family and I went over to Australia. We had about 3.5 weeks over there. I've got 10 nephews and nieces and my parents live in Australia. So being able to catch up with them and all of the kids, getting them all together, 11 in total when you throw our 8-month-old daughter Sophie into the mix. It really is chaos and it's very, very hectic, but it's so much fun because we try and squeeze basically a whole year worth of catch-ups into the small time that we're there. So it was so much fun. But of course, if you've been following the news, you'll see these horrible bushfires that have been taking over Australia. More than 1 billion animals are estimated to have been killed. Thousands of homes have been destroyed and many lives have been lost. So it's been a really horrible situation for everyone in Australia. But I wanted to quickly take a moment to highlight one of the bright spots of that. And that's the way that, aside from the usual Twitter trolling that seems to happen during these moments, it's that the human spirit shines when adversity is faced by a lot of people. So whether you've been impacted by the fire, if you're listening to this right now in Australia and you have been impacted, or perhaps you're living somewhere else around the world and you're dealing with another type of tragedy, it's a lesson for all of us that we must aim for unity. Being at each other's throats won't help. We see a lot of people trying to cast blame as to all these different people and all these different companies and everything else that's going on. Politicians, of course, are bearing the full brunt of it and the media isn't letting up. But being at each other's throats won't help. It's that love, that kindness, and that generosity that really enables us to get through tragedies such as this. So I wanted just to quickly highlight the human spirit that has been shining through in the last month. All right, let's get into today's episode, 6 Steps for Success in 2020. And how powerful is that quote from Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling? To have lived so cautiously is not to have lived at all. We know that living cautious is boring and it doesn't get you some great results. So it actually reminds me of the Earl Nightingale quote that says, "Most people tiptoe through life hoping to make it safely to death," which is a quote that we've used on this show before. Now, before we go through these steps, the 6 steps for success in 2020, let's reflect on a very simple truth that many people fail to realize. And that is that success does not discriminate. It comes to all those who do what needs to be done. Success does not discriminate. It comes to all those who do what needs to be done. Now, if you can understand and remember that, then you've already won half the battle. So what does the new year mean? Well, the new year marks a complete orbiting of the Earth around the sun. That might give you a few possible insights. The first one, that change is constant. Everything is always evolving. The second one, we don't know how many orbits we're actually going to be on this planet for, so we need to make the most of our time on this earth. And number 3, well, I thought I'd let comedian Joe Rogan fill you in on this one. Joe Rogan said, "If you ever start taking things too seriously, just remember that we are talking monkeys on an organic spaceship flying through the universe." Pretty cool from Joe Rogan. And putting all that together, we know that change is inevitable. We know that our time is running out. And third, we know that we shouldn't worry so much, which also ties back into the episode quote from J.K. Rowling, who said, "To have lived so cautiously is not to have lived at all." All right, now that we're committed to living strong, what are these 6 simple steps to success in 2020? Let's get into it and stay tuned because I've got an exciting announcement that I'll be revealing at the end of this episode. The most extraordinary achievers on the planet are so disciplined with doing those 6 steps, all this 6 steps that we'll go through in this episode, that they have become a habit. The best part? Well, they're available. These 6 steps are available for you too. So grab a notepad, or if you're driving or doing yard work or cooking and you are not in a position right now to be able to writing things down, you can go and visit the blog version of this episode at a later date. And think about the steps that you're going to take. Think about how you can apply these into your life as soon as the episode is over. Because if you can do that consistently, if you can take these action items and most importantly, take action, then your success in 2020 is assured. Now, I don't want to spoil it, but number 5 in particular was a huge light bulb moment for me. All right, let's go. Number 1, Clearly define goals. Napoleon Hill wrote that the starting point of all achievement is desire. In fact, he made it the very first principle of Think and Grow Rich, which is the best-selling self-help book of all time. So that gives you an idea of just how important this step is. After all, if you don't know what your perfect destination looks like, how can you expect to end up anywhere near there? And once you've got that perfect destination in mind, and when we're talking about perfect destination, that's in each area that's important to you. So you need to have multiple perfect destinations. You can then take that perfect destination and turn them into clearly defined goals. Now, you need to make sure those clearly defined goals are, first of all, emotionally charged, and second, unique to you. Because if they're emotionally charged, you're going to be much more resourceful and resilient so you can achieve them. And if they are unique to you, it means you're going to care about them so much more. You don't want to just go and get your goals, download someone else's goals off the internet. You want to sit there and think about what is it that this life, what do you want out of this one great life that you have? As you're preparing these goals, let your thoughts run wild, unencumbered from what anyone else might think about what you're writing down. On this journey to living a life on your own terms, you're going to encounter a lot of people who are going to be more than willing to share their ill-informed opinions with you. But you must remember that the most important opinion is how you feel about yourself. Financial freedom in particular is a huge goal for so many people. An article came out last week from the New York Times, which spoke about the direct correlation between longevity and wealth. So wealthy people, they not only live longer, they're also healthier. So financial freedom already is a huge goal for so many people, but it's not for you. It needs to be, because it also enables you to contribute to the causes and the people that you care about the most. So that's number one, create clearly defined goals. Number two, hang out with the right people. Have you ever driven in a Ford car before? I'm sure you have. In fact, you might even have owned one. In the 110 years since it was founded, the Ford Motor Company has gone on to sell almost 400 million cars, averaging a new car sold every 10 seconds. Its founder, Henry Ford, passed away in 1947 with a net worth of $200 billion US, adjusted for inflation. That's not bad for a poor, illiterate kid. Anyway, Henry Ford once said, this is one of my favorite quotes. Henry Ford said, "My best friend is the one who brings out the best in me. My best friend is the one who brings out the best in me." That's one of my favorite quotes, because seeing how your life has changed as a result of someone else's presence is a very clear yardstick of the value of that relationship. If you're hanging out with someone who makes you miserable as a result of spending 1 year or 5 years or 10 years with them, clearly that is not a very, very valuable relationship. But if someone makes you happier and helps you achieve and makes you more successful, it's a very valuable relationship, and you need to make sure that you invest more and more time into that. Often we feel obligated to keep associating with people just because we went to school with them, or because we're a family friend with them, or maybe they're actually in our family. But it's important to protect our energy source. So when we talk about protecting our energy source, we need to understand the following. First of all, you need to associate with those who have a common future, not a common past. Second, you cannot hang around negative people and expect a positive outcome. And number three, toxic people are still toxic even if they're disguised as family. Now, it's January right now, so in the last month, there's a very real chance you might have caught up with someone who you just feel like you just don't get a great vibe from them. Well, now's the time to replace those people with someone who does make you happy and helps you achieve. And if you're not sure where to start, go onto Facebook or click on the link in the show notes, and you can join the Win the Day Facebook group. There's almost 400 people in there, all amazing, positive people who are here to help you succeed. So go and join the Win the Day Facebook group. So that's number two, hang out with the right people. Number three, create a positive environment. A big learning for me in the last few years is recognizing the full magnitude that our mental state has to the meaning we attach to a given situation. For example, if we're in a grumpy mood, we're going to focus a lot more negatively about any situation that is presented to us. But in contrast, if we're in an inspired mood, we'll see the best of whatever situation is presented to us. There are mental tricks that we can play to put ourselves into a positive mood, just as there are things that pull us into a negative state. So what can we do? Just as we think about our intent for how to structure the day, we can apply this just as readily to environmental care. And when I talk about environmental care, we're talking about the areas where you spend the most time. So for most people, that's your living environment and your working environment. So the first step there is to remove clutter from these places where you spend the most time. To do this, just pick up whatever item or stare at whatever item that you're not sure about and ask yourself a simple question. Does having this item sitting around, being in my house or in my apartment or on my desk, does this item spark joy? If the answer is no, get rid of it. Simple. Number 2, eliminate any items that distract you or cause you to procrastinate. So for some people, maybe that's paperwork on your desk, maybe that's a game or a time-wasting app, maybe even a social media app that you have on your phone. It might even be the TV remote control. So remove that, even temporarily, just to enable yourself to become positive and productive in that moment. And number 3, surround yourself with inspiration. If you're watching the YouTube episode of the Win the Day show, or you've seen it before, you've probably seen this huge canvas print behind me that says action, the difference between having and wanting. Whenever I see that, it kicks my ass into gear because I know there's a lot of things that I need to achieve if I'm going to get there and achieve my goals, rather than wasting away at watching television or doing things that aren't good for my soul or my mind. So that's number 3, surround yourself with inspiration. Even listening to a podcast or an audiobook once a day, that can give you that constant repetition of positive materials that can put you in the right headspace. So remember, create a positive environment. Number 4, have strong systems to achieve. Now, this is the one where most well-intentioned people fall down. This is the absolutely essential next step after defining your goals. It's to build them into your life so you know every single day what work you need to do today and how it relates to your long-term mission. Every year I fill out the success plan template. You can go and download that. And what you do then is that will clearly show you work backwards from your perfect destination to your 90-day goals. And then you take those 90-day goals and you turn them into action items. And then you put those action items, you literally embed them in your calendar alongside another calendar notification 90 days in the future. So you know that when that one goes off, it's a reminder that you need to come up with the next 90 days of action items. That enables you to not only take steps to get you where you need to be, it also enables you to release yourself of any stress in the short term. You can release yourself of any of today's stress because you already know what work you need to do today. It might only be 2, 3, or 4 things, and you can release yourself from any worry about how the story is going to end. You've already written the story. You already know the outcome. You've just got to focus on the few steps that are going to get you there. So think about those who do the complete opposite. Contrast it with those who don't even set goals in the first place. They never create a strong system to achieve anything in their life. Who do you think is going to have the best chance of achieving success and happiness and a life of freedom? Now, there's one more fail-safe measure that you can take here, and that's when you wake up each day. Write down 3 things that you're grateful for and 3 things that would make today a win. This ensures that everything you do is done with intent, and it positions you as the hero of your own story, rather than having to stare glumly or enviously at social media or all these other people who you see are achieving all these awesome things. So that's number 4, have strong systems to achieve. Number 5, attach happiness to the present. The digital age has greatly exacerbated our self-esteem. And when we don't have a worthy method for self-evaluation, we look externally for that. And images of perfect people are thrust into our vision from all the social media platforms. Now, when I say the word perfect, I should have put some quotation marks around that because we know that most of the images that we see on social media are not true. It's a different narrative. It's what someone wants to present to the world. With different things these days like Photoshop, where people can take a perfect snapshot from an imperfect day. But that doesn't stop us. Our mind, our heart, we are hardwired to not make sense of all that. We just sit there and we have an instant reaction to it, which is not great for our self-esteem. Now, this is where phrases like "I'll be happy if" and "I'll be happy when" kick into gear and they become our mantra as we attach our happiness to the success that we believe others have that continues to elude us. This can be anything from a desirable partner to a thriving business, even to something like wanting someone else's body. But true happiness is not just found in the present, it's found by being present. So enjoy being in the present, come rain, hail or shine, and say yes to life more often rather than sitting at home in your living room in your pajamas. Just be aware that this step is a lot easier to do once you've already done the 4 preceding steps. This one in particular was absolutely life-changing for me, and I'm sure it will be for you as well. So remember to attach happiness to the present. That's number 5. Number 6, join a mastermind. Rather than spending tens of thousands of dollars and wasting years of your time trying to figure it out for yourself, find someone who already has the success that you want and then do exactly what they tell you. If you join a mastermind that gives you unprecedented access with someone you admire while being in an environment that allows you to collaborate with other like-minded people who can support you and you can support them, your idea of what you can achieve will increase exponentially and your abilities to get there will increase at a much faster rate. To find a good mastermind, a lot of people ask me, what is a good mastermind? Well, the very first thing you need to do is make sure the person is the real deal. There are a lot of fake phonies and frauds out there, these so-called internet and lifestyle gurus online. So if you talk about when you go to someone's website and it says that they've been featured in this publication or that they've gone on and had these list of achievements, make sure that you can independently verify them. Otherwise, there's a good chance that they're trying to pull the wool over your eyes and take your money. So that's the first one. Make sure the person is the real deal. And the second part, make sure they stand behind their products. If they don't allow you to try it for a decent amount of time, if they don't allow you to try, say, 20% of the course, or give you maybe 30 days or at least 2 weeks of that program, then there's a very, very good chance that it's not the real deal. So make sure any program that you do has a complete 100% money back guarantee. It's one of my biggest frustrations is when I see these people and they don't stand behind their own products. How can you trust them? A good mastermind will give you massive amounts of structure, massive amounts of challenge, and massive amounts of accountability in all areas of your life. All right, announcement time. To help people absolutely crush 2020, I'm very excited to announce the Day One Mastermind. This begins on the 24th of February and is a 3-month program. It's designed for professionals and entrepreneurs all around the world who can join. It'll be an online mastermind that also gives all the benefits of an in-person mastermind that will help professionals and entrepreneurs to find their voice, build their tribe, and make an impact. For more info, just click on the link down below or in the show notes. It's theday1.com. Theday1, TheDayWon.com. A link will also be included in the show notes. And again, this is for professionals and entrepreneurs who want the ultimate foundation for success in 2020. Spots are strictly limited because I want to make sure I can allocate the time, because everyone who enrolls in this mastermind will actually get unlimited email support with me one-on-one, not to mention all the videos, exclusive resources, downloads, and everything else. For 3 months, I will be here working with you one-on-one on everything that you want to achieve, your personal life and your business, to help you crush it in 2020. I'll be there to give you a step-by-step guide and a blueprint to achieve everything that you want. Now, there's only one focus for this program, and that's providing ridiculous amounts of value. So I promise that you will be extremely happy and find it truly life-changing. For more info or to reserve your place, again, go to theday1.com or click the link in the show notes, and it's starting on the 24th of February. The Day One Mastermind will also never be offered at this price again. It's the first time I've done it, so I wanted to keep it nice and low so people who wanted to be involved could go and do that. So I'm so excited to share everything that I've learned about success, happiness, and building a life of freedom. All right, that's it for episode 19. Remember to take massive action on these 6 steps for success in 2020 that we have gone through in this episode to make it your best year yet. For those who register for the Day One Mastermind, I will see you very soon, and everyone else, I'll see you next time on episode 20. Until next time, onwards and upwards always.